Continue on from the previous lesson or open the file Hat04. We explained how the simulation process will work, and now we'll give it a try. So first thing is, with sewing springs checked on, we have gravity depressed there, and we'll just click on Simulate Local. You can see that as we do this, the sewing springs kind of stick it together and the hat starts to drop. Once it's dropped a little bit and it looks like the sewing springs have pulled it together, click on Simulate Local again to stop it, and just uncheck Use Sewing Springs. Click on Simulate Local again to kind of drop this onto our character's head, and you see once it hits, it starts to conform around our character's head and slide off the back. That's exactly what we want. And we want to have this hair be kind of pushing out the front, and now it's draped along the back of our character's head. So once we're happy with that, just click Simulate Local again to stop the simulation, as I did. And now we want to attach the hat to our character's head. Now we do this by using groups, but sometimes it's a lot easier to set up your groups ahead of time before you do your simulation, and then assign them once you've done it. This is because the panels are all laid out flat before you do your simulation. There's no wrinkling of all the different vertices. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down to Reset State, which brings our clothing back to the state before we tried to do a simulation. And we can just, if you get this look right here, it's really just a viewport thing, but you can choose Use Sewing Springs and Reset State again so that you see the springs in the view. Now before we do our simulation and drop it onto our character's head, we'll set up our groups. Let's go into the left viewport, and in Subobject, Group of the Cloth modifier, we can make our selection. You can see why it would be much easier to make a selection here before you do your simulation, because all the vertices are all laid out. We want to do a selection of this band that's going to be on the head, and just click on Make Group. We can call this group Band and choose OK. And you see that the band group is unassigned. What we'll do is, once this drapes onto our character's head, we'll assign it to the surface of the character's head so that this band always follows or is attached to the surface of our character. But for right now, we'll leave it unassigned until we do our simulation. So now we have our band group, and we can go out of Subobject mode, and we'll do our simulation. So just click on Simulate Local, and the hat will be sucked together. And once it starts dropping, turn off Simulate Local and uncheck Use Sewing Springs. Simulate Local again, and it'll be dropped onto our character's head, and as soon as it starts to get pulled back a little bit, stop the simulation when the hair is in the right place. Take a look in our perspective view. And it looks like it's seated on the character's head fairly well. We'll add the group to the surface of the head in the next lesson.